You know, it's really been a delight to work along with Bruce Crawford over the last 20 years. He's such a lovely character, and one of the things I really love about Bruce is the fact that he's so businesslike and so competent, and gosh, his record stands for itself, but he's also such a fun person to be with and to associate with. And one of the things that I particularly have fun doing is making Bruce blush. You know, we know him as Brucey Baby. He's fabulous. Just have a look at him now. I bet his face is bright red. Congratulations, Bruce. 20 years of Brucey Baby.
Hi Bruce, this is a 20-year-old congratulating another 20-year-old because we've both been in the Parliament for 20 years exactly. Although of course you've got an age disadvantage against me, so you'll be a lot older than me when you eventually retire. And we don't know when you're going to retire or if you're going to retire, but at your age you should give it some consideration. Maybe another 20 years will do you. But anyway, in all seriousness, it's been very good working with you. You are a good guy, you're part of the backbone of the SNP group, and you have served not just the party but the Parliament and the country very well, and we look forward to hearing from you for another 20 years.
Hi, just a wee message about Bruce. Obviously you all know who he is, but here in the Scottish Parliament he's somebody who's highly respected, genuinely. He can be funny, he can be a miserable get, as you know, but he's somebody who we all think of as one of ours here in the Scottish Parliament, because he's been here for 20 years. I know it looks as if he's probably been around for a good bit longer than 20 years as a top-line politician, but 20 years it is, and I think that, I know that he's highly respected not only by those of us in the SNP but by people across the Parliament, and we're very, very pleased that he's here.
What do I want to say about Crawfy? Well, he's a policeman and a fixer, and he's got his fingers in every pie of what we do as a group in Parliament. So I watch my step with him and he watches his step with me.
Congratulations, Bruce, on 20 years in the Parliament. You beat my record, but we share one of the most important achievements in our time here, as you know. We are the people who jointly coined the new word, "consnugget," to be overwhelmed by information, the condition which every member in this place finds themselves in from time to time. They should be grateful that we have come up with a word that describes their condition. They will be puzzled if they just remember consnugget. Bruce Crawford, Stuart Seeds.
It's a pleasure to congratulate my good friend and next door neighbour Bruce Crawford on 20 years of outstanding service for the people of Stirling, for the people of Scotland, for the Scottish National Party, of the independence movement. Whether it's a constituency MSP, a minister, party business convener, or convener of the Finance and Constitution Committee, Bruce is a role model, particularly for younger MSPs like me. So I just want to say thank you, Bruce, for all the fantastic work you have done over the past 20 years, and here's to the next 20 years in independence.
Well, Bruce is a fixture in the Parliament, and I think my first recollection of seeing him in action as a parliamentarian was probably the first day the Parliament met, when I managed to misappropriate a ticket as a young researcher for the public gallery for the first ever meeting of the Parliament when he famously reconvened it. And since then, Bruce has been a source of wise advice for all who'll take it and many who won't. It's apart from the opportunity to celebrate 20 years of the Parliament, it's a good opportunity to celebrate 20 years of Bruce in the Parliament, which is something worth a monument in itself.
Bruce Crawford is an absolute stalwart of the national movement, and before he was elected to this Parliament, of course, he served in Perth and Kinross Council for a number of years and was leader of that council, which is often forgotten about. He has done sterling work, but his partnership with my good friend Brian Adam during the 2007 government ensured that a minority government stayed in power the entire length of the parliamentary term. That is some achievement, and plaudits to Bruce for his efforts in that regard.
Hello Bruce, 20 years on, and I don't think either of us looks a day older than when we came into the Parliament in 1999. You certainly don't. And it's been quite a journey, some ups and some downs, but it's been great to work side by side with you, seeing your career develop over those 20 years, and having some tough jobs like the job of being business manager during those difficult early days of being in government. I hope you have a well-deserved party to celebrate your 20 years, and it's been good to be a little bit of a part of that. It's been a great journey to have been with you on over those last 2 decades.
Well, I've known Bruce Crawford for over 4 decades now, so I think I'm able to speak with total authority about my pal Bruce. And of all the many things you can say about Bruce, that he's a stalwart supporter of independence, a great asset for the SNP, a tremendous constituency representative. There's one thing that I think that everyone should know about Bruce, and that is his absolutely pivotal role between 2007 and 2011. Bruce was the guy that held the whole thing together. He was the guy that avoided us losing votes and helped us to win most of the votes, to keep the whole team together and cohesive. He was the sort of equivalent of Captain Scotty in Starship Enterprise. Sorry, Bruce. But seriously, without Bruce's role, we wouldn't have achieved the tremendous success in 2011. It was all thanks to Bruce. And it just goes to show the truth of what the late, great Ronald Reagan once said, which was this: it's amazing what you can achieve if you don't mind who gets the credit.
Well, what can I say about Bruce Crawford MSP other than that he is the greatest dancer, and he does it great, the Gangnam style, and I know for a fact he can also do the floss. But seriously, from the Yes Cafe in Polbeth, all the very best to my good friend and colleague Bruce Crawford, and well done, and thank you for all your service. Yay!
So Bruce Crawford has got huge respect right across the SNP, and he has done for a considerable number of years. Obviously, prior to being an MSP, he was a local councillor, and I can remember when I was first elected as a local councillor in 1999, I was the whip of the new enlarged SNP group, and Bruce came to talk to us as a group about all the issues in terms of discipline. And I think that's one thing that Bruce has managed to instill in everyone that he's come into contact with in the party, so the group, councillors, about discipline and how being a united SNP working for our goal of independence, it's so important that we do that together. So thank you, Bruce, for the wisdom you've shared over the years, and keep going. Thank you.
Hi Bruce, I can't believe it's 20 years since you became an MSP. God, it feels much longer than that. But of course you have been an elected politician since 1988, both in Perth and Kinross District Council, and then leader of the group. So you've brought a wealth of expertise to the parliamentary group, and you were a key architect of the 2014 independence referendum, and as group convener I've got to know you a lot better as I worked alongside you, and you know that experience is going to hold you in great stead as group convener for pensioners for independence. So all I would like to say to you is happy retirement. What do you mean he's no retiring?
Robert, Hardy, Bruce Crawford, you have certainly lived up to your namesakes. Tenacious perseverance and patience, and a real belief in your cause. In the early days of the SNP government in 2007, there were 6 of us round the cabinet table with Bruce. We were meant to last 6 hours, 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, and of course you saw what happened, and we would never have been able to achieve that and be so far on our journey to independence if it wasn't for Bruce Crawford. I also remember in the early days in 1999, Bruce would walk the corridors to make sure that our group felt as one in those early days. And of course our Christmas parties at that time were much smaller, but it was always Bruce Crawford that got the dancing going at the party. So Bruce, if you haven't started dancing now, I hope they've got music for later on. You're some mover, and you have been a great contribution to the movement for independence for our country. You're a champion for Stirling, and you're a champion for Scotland.
Congratulations to Bruce on his remarkable achievement in this long and distinguished career. And he tells me it's been a long and distinguished career. He also says that the highlight of his time in politics was when I became his member of the Scottish Parliament, and I would agree with that. Unfortunately for me, it was a terrible time having a constituent causing as much trouble, as much disruption and as much work for my staff as Bruce Crawford. Unfortunately though, the ravages of time have meant that Bruce is now often very forgetful. He often forgets that Stirling University is actually my constituency rather than his own. In all truth, Bruce has been a great friend to me. He has provided advice and support over many years, including when I sought to become the MSP for Ochil, and his experience at that time was really invaluable to me. And also when I joined the Scottish Parliament, knowing that Bruce was there and able to speak to him on many issues has been a great comfort to me, and I want to thank him and congratulate him on his lengthy service for the people of Scotland.
Bruce, 20 years, a long time. You know how people say, Bruce, you're a mover and shaker. In government, you were a minister, whip, business person, but you're more than that. You were certainly a great mover and shaker on the dance floor as well. I'll just leave that with you, Bruce. Memories.
So, Bruce Crawford, what can I say about Bruce Crawford? A legend in the SNP, certainly a legend as a minister, astonishing things he achieved in minority government, and a brilliant friend personally. And since I've kind of stepped into the role he had previously, a great mentor as well. I know I can always turn to Bruce for advice and support, and he's a very wise counsel, so I'm delighted that you're doing this as a tribute to him. He absolutely deserves it. And, you know, well done, sir.
Bruce Crawford, BC, everybody's father in the Scottish Parliament. I've tried to follow in your footsteps, Bruce, whether it was as your PLO, i.e. your bag carrier, whether it was through local government, coming through local government, becoming a parliamentarian, trying to manage things in minority government, as well as majority government. I'm sure everyone said really nice things about you, but the final thing I want to say in terms of all the good work you've done for the party and the cause is that I tried to follow in your footsteps, and that has included the gyration, that's easy for me to say, the gyration on the dance floor, because I know, Bruce, as well as everything else, you're a fantastic dancer, and hopefully I can reach your meteoric standards in dancing as well as politics.
He is one of my closest political friends. Indeed, we often sit together in the chamber. On one famous occasion when he was Minister for Parliamentary Business, I distracted him so much in talking to him that he voted the wrong way. I don't think I was ever allowed to do that again. I have a little bit of responsibility for Bruce being in the Parliament. When I was Party Chief Executive and he led Perth and Kinross Council, he came to see me, sat at the sofa in my office and said, did I think he should stand for the Scottish Parliament? My answer was clear, of course he should, because he had a huge amount to contribute, and he's contributed a huge amount, both to his constituents, starting off as a list MSP, and then speaking for the people of Stirling, a vast amount to this Parliament, as a minister and as a local representative, and of course now chairing the Finance and Constitution Committee. I'm delighted to work with Bruce. I think he's been a great MSP, and he's also a great friend.
Bruce is an absolute trusty friend, ally, colleague, and it's been the most outstanding pleasure for me to work with him. You can always rely on Bruce when you've completely dropped the ball and got something wrong, to come to your aid, back you up and get you up to get on to the next effort in the campaign. I've had some fabulously happy times with Bruce out on the road. I'm going to tell you some of those at the event, but he's one of the stars of the SNP and a pleasure to work with him.
Hi Bruce, happy 20th anniversary as an MSP. You, right now, if I know you as well as I think I do, will be blushing to the tips of your ears but you don't look a day older than you did back in 1999. When I call you Grandpa, it is honestly just a joke, not because you look like a Grandpa. But seriously, you have been an outstanding MSP. You've worked so hard on behalf of your constituents, you were an outstanding minister, and now as chair of our parliamentary group here in Holyrood, you continue to make an outstanding contribution to the SNP and to the cause of independence. You're one in a million, Bruce. I love you, the whole party loves you, so enjoy the celebrations.
So I implore all of those who take part in this great debate, but particularly my colleagues and friends from across the parties in this Parliament, let's lead from the front and show respect for each other's point of view. For those of us who believe in the sovereignty of the people of Scotland, I say at decision time tomorrow, vote to let the people speak.